keep your private stuff to yourself, and you'll meet your family and friends. That's how I see it.
Okay.
Eric?
You got it.
And I heard Sabbath say, well, I was thinking the same thing. With family and friends that you know will keep a lid on it. Because people tell you, even in the world, say, if you got any dirt, you do it. They say two things you got to remember. You got to, you shouldn't have dirt at all, of course, in righteousness. But in the world, they'll say, if you do any dirt, they say you do it in the dark. You do it by yourself. Otherwise, it's gonna come back up. But it's like when you do it before the Most High, it doesn't matter anyway. It can still come back up.
Yeah, like
it'll be on your conscience,
What is it? Ezekiel chapter 8. They do it in the secret place, and the Most High showed Ezekiel what they're doing.
Oh, okay.
But certain things you would do among, just you would do among your family or your close friend, associate. You don't do in front of a stranger. So you're like, oh, that's what he does. Wow. Okay.
Or even when it says do no secret thing before a stranger, it's letting you know too you don't know this person, so you don't know what they're gonna say. Because you could do something that's secret that could get you in trouble, and you don't know this, but you might have met the person for the first time, and now here it is, you did this particular thing that could get you in trouble. Now they go off and tell somebody. Now you're in trouble. That's why you might think the person's nice. You might not even know them. But because you don't know them, don't do anything that's to be kept secret in front of them. Because that's why the last part says, for thou knowest not what he will bring forth. You don't know what this particular person is going to do. They could keep it a secret, or they could go off and blab to somebody else. Now you're in trouble. Maybe it's something that you're going to do on a job that you're trying to do on the low. You look around, you don't know who this person is. He's a stranger, you never met him before, and you go ahead and do this thing on the low anyway. Now he goes back to your boss or goes throughout the workplace and tell other people, and that's spread throughout the workplace. Now you're in trouble. Now you lose your job. In a situation like that, you either step away from the person or ask them to excuse you, and then you do whatever secret thing needs to be done. Because that's why the scriptures say you don't know what the person's going to bring forth. And that's just good advice. If you don't know somebody, there's certain things you're just not going to do in front of them. I'm going to read this real quick. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 19, verse 6.
You stand in this book.
Because it's all connected.
Yeah. What's this called? It's called the jewel box.
Verse 6. Ecclesiastes chapter 19, verse 6 to verse 12.
Add that scripture in real quick.
Sometimes the guy might not be purposely going off to hurt you. Maybe he want to keep the secret, but he's just a guy that slips with his tongue every once in a while. And then whatever secret thing you just did, it just kind of slip out of his mouth, even though he really is trying to keep the secret. You have to know who you do stuff in front of. This chapter is about knowing people. This is Ecclesiastes 19 and 6. It says, "He that can rule or control his tongue shall live without strife, and he that hateth babbling or foolishness shall have less evil." Because the tongue is a big thing. Remember, the tongue is what causes damn near everything that happened on earth. Why do people go to war? Because that word is spoken. We're going to go to war. Why are cities built? Why are nations created? Because words are spoken. About what's going to happen. That's where it starts off.
Classrooms across the country raise up the next generation of children.
Exactly.
To know whatever they're going to know.
Exactly. And that comes through what? Like words. It says, rehearse not, here it is, rehearse not unto another that which is told unto thee, and thou shalt fear never the worst. So somebody tells you something in secret, you don't go and rehearse it or tell it to everybody. Sometimes a person don't even have to tell you that this is something that's not supposed to be told. Sometimes you're just supposed to know, look, this is something I'm not going to repeat to anybody else. I just shouldn't. Or this is that particular person's business. Whether it be to friend or foe, talk not of other men's lives. See, it's telling you right there. And if thou canst without offense, reveal them not. So you're not supposed to be revealing people's secrets. For he heard and observed thee, and when time cometh, he will hate thee. So now the person that gave you the secret to keep, now he find out you blabbing to everybody, how you think he gonna feel? You understand what I'm saying?
I got crabs.
Huh? So read it on.
Okay. Let's just use the indefinite article secret. Please fill in blank on your own.
Let's do insider trading stuff.
I don't know, brother.
That's not.
You was a
I don't like some of the joke. I like
Something.
When you play poker, you don't go like this. Keep your hands up. Keep your cards up.
Just can't look at his face. He's like, wait a minute, what's coming next? It's okay.
Let's do like something like insider trading or something. You know, this is how we run the company.
Yeah, that's supposed to be kept secret. You know.
Yeah, this is a little like off the book stuff. This is how we do business here.
Right, and then not to break your flow anymore, but just want to say this real quick. Things that are secret aren't always necessarily wicked.
Right.
Some things are just a need to know basis.
Right.
Like people that are low on a totem just don't need to be hearing about certain things being discussed when it comes to certain matters.
Exactly.
It's not always a thing of wickedness. Like, oh, what are they talking about? They said something that they're like, you got no business even knowing that. That's why it would always crack me up with back in when Bush was president, how he had Rumsfeld. He was the head of defense. Anytime he got on the mic, he would say, I'm not going to go into that here. Next question. People get mad at him for it, but it's just like, what? He should be talking to civilians about military matters.
Exactly.
A lot of stuff that he knows that he could share with the public. People will lose their mind. They probably go and run on Washington when it comes to certain things because America has to do a lot of dirt to stay in power.
12 seconds delay. Oops. Commercial.
Right, and like I said, some things a person don't even have to tell you that you're not supposed to blab that to anybody else. Some things you're just supposed to know. You're not going to be yakking about other men's lives or whatever the case might be. You know, some things you're supposed to know that. If, like, I know a brother and a sister who, you know, they kind of dealing with each other on my job, but it's obvious they want to keep it on the low. But then you got a couple of sisters up in the job that's blowing the whole thing up. Like, why you blow? Obviously, they're not telling anybody or whatever. It's obvious they want to keep it on the low. Why are you blowing it up? You understand what I'm saying? But some people just in everybody's business and like to talk. That's why the scriptures talk about gossiping and everything like that. That's why speaking is gossiping and tale-bearing and everything like that. Some things you just really supposed to keep your mouth shut. But it says,
good feedback.
Verse 10, if thou hast heard a word, let it die with thee, and be bold, it will not burst thee. You understand what I'm saying? So just keep it with you. You're not gonna explode because it's trying to get out of you or something. Like you're gonna pop. Oh my God! Some people be like, man, I have to say something. I'm gonna pop. You understand what I'm saying?
I gotta tell somebody.
Yeah, I gotta tell somebody. It's not that serious. You know what I mean? Verse 11: a fool travaileth with a word as a woman in labor of a child. So a guy that's a fool, a woman that's a fool, got no kind of restraint, whatever. It's like they in labor. The word just want to pop out of them, like how a baby's popping out of a woman's stomach. Like, you know, get some kind of self-control. It says, as an arrow that sticketh in a man's thigh, so is a word within a fool's belly. It got to come out. You know? So that's what it's talking about. But, you know, that's what the scripture's saying. Look, certain things that are to be kept secret, keep them secret. And not everybody's going to keep you secret. So if you don't want everybody knowing, don't do certain things in front of certain people. Because you don't know who's who.
Remember Hezekiah? He showed the strangers like all the gold, you know, what they had, you know, that we had, you know. Come look, I showed them everything, you know. I'll show you everything. He said, where's this person coming? He's like, oh yeah, I showed them everything, you know, like that we had. You know, like
they come from far land, even from Babylon.
He says that was wrong.
See, for Zaquan's quote, 1 Peter 4:15, it says, let none of you suffer as a murderer or as a thief or as an evildoer or as a busybody in other men's matters. As a busybody, you going around telling people's business all over the place. What's that about? Sometimes you're supposed to keep your mouth shut. So you keep your mouth shut, sometimes they keep you out of trouble.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? As a matter of fact.
What about your dirt? Oh yeah, coming back to a little reflective, you said about a comedian when he tells the truth, like Paul Mooney. You know Paul Mooney, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks a lot of truth. Like,
right. It's funny, but it's like, he goes there, you know.
Yeah. Because when he was saying about the guy from Seinfeld, when he called when he said the N word so many times, Paul Mooney said it wasn't funny.
Yeah, that was true, but it wasn't funny.
Negro Godless alone. That's what it's done. Don't sleep.
Verse 19, Ecclus 8, verse 19. Open not thine heart to every man, lest he requite thee with a shrewd turn. You're gonna tell. It's kind of reflecting back to you're not gonna tell every man, everything about you. Everything. He's gonna probably use it against you. Yeah, you could use it against you. That's what I see.
That's it. I'll pull this quick fast. This is a clip on that note. Ecclesiasticus. Oh man. Ecclesiasticus 6
That's
and
not
6.
it. We still got 9 to go.
No, I'm saying what he said is the breakdown for the scripture. He said that's how I said. I said that is it.
Ecclesiasticus?
Ecclesiasticus 6 and 6. Alright, everybody got it? I'll read it. It says, be at peace with many, so, be cool with a lot of people. Nothing wrong with that. Nevertheless, have one counselor of 1,000. So, you might have a counselor that you get advice from. But don't just go around telling everybody your business to get advice from everybody. You understand what I'm saying? There could be one person who knows your business. Don't spread your business all around, because it's going to work out to be no good in the end. Because people could end up using that against you. Make sure that person is someone that you can trust.
That's good. I like that. I like that verse too, because if it does get out, who told it.
Exactly. It's true. It's true.
That's the vibe right there.
So we're gonna 5-minute break?
You tell us?
Yeah.
Tell the audience. Please share with the group.
We can take a 5-minute break. And we'll be right back. Sit tight.
You gotta lay down that law. Get him to come out of that, Get him to see the light.
It's so Christian.
Alright, we're on, right?
We're on, right?
Yeah. Been on for like
Okay.
5 minutes.
Okay, we're coming back to Ecclesiasticus chapter 9. 9 verse 1. Be not jealous over the wife of thy bosom, and teach her not an evil lesson against thyself. Sometimes you don't know about your wife and stuff like that. You kind of certain little things she has, or certain, kind of admirable certain things or whatever. But try to be jealous over certain things about her, and don't even tell her, all your dirty little secrets.
Come and give you strength,
Because she'll use it against you when you're arguing. That's for sure. It's like, oh man, I told you that.
Experience.
I told you that, you're using it against me now. It's like, man. That's hurtful. Okay. Give not thy soul unto a woman to set her foot upon thy substance.
Oh, let me say this too.
Oh, verse 1?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It says, be not jealous over the wife of thy bosom, and teach her not an evil lesson against thyself. Also, being jealous over her can be teaching her an evil lesson against yourself. Because even to the aspect of where you are a jealous person, she's she like you're jealous about different guys or things of that nature. Or, that's teaching her an evil lesson against you too, because she could use that jealousy against you. You understand what I'm saying? I've seen women do that a lot of times. Fortunately, I can say, all praise to the Most High, that I'm not a jealous person. So when women have tried to get me jealous, but it was just kind of laughable because I'm just not that kind of guy. But that's a very, very powerful tool that a woman can use against you in a relationship. In terms of jealousy. Men go out of their minds and get men to do anything because over that jealousy thing too.
she could probably, you know,